The Bletchley Riddle by Ruta Sepetys and Steve Sheinkin.
Chapter 48. Jacob. How many times are you going to do that? Don't know, I say. I'm up to 28. I start my 29th trip around Bletchley Park Lake. Nigel's up in his favorite tree. As I walk under his branch, he asks, "What exactly are you doing? Looking for duck eggs?" I don't believe you. I could really use a bath, a few hours of sleep, but I can't leave the park. Not now. Because our new idea seems to be working. We've tracked the starting positions on every message that's come since midnight, charting the results on a sheet on the wall in Hut 6. We've come up with a good guess at today's ring settings. Between that and the usual sillies, we've got two big clues about how German operators have their enigmas set up today. Now, a new team of code breakers is on the case. Linguists, crossword experts, chess masters, people who see patterns hidden in chaos. Give them just a few letters of the real message, and they may be able to work out the whole thing. But it takes time. They're in the hut right now, hunched over slips of paper, scratching away with colored pencils, rifling through German dictionaries. And apparently, they don't enjoy young mathematicians watching over their shoulders. So I walk around the lake. There's always something to see. People coming and going from the mansion, and little huts. Motorcycle couriers zipping in and out, and the lifeblood of the park. Construction lorries hauling in more wood, more bricks, sacks of cement mix. Looks like something new's going on over by the hedge mage. There's a shout from the direction of Hut 6. "Hear that?" Nigel asks. I stop beneath the branch and listen. Another shout from the hut, and a few more. People run in that direction. Nigel looks with a longing towards the action, but he knows not to ask. "I'll see you," I say, and take off running. It's only 50 yards or so to Hut 6. A small group is already gathered. Beryl grabs my arm. "I think it's working." Welchman steps out of the hut. The little crowd goes silent. Very casually, Welchman takes the pipe from his mouth. He says, "We're back in." No one knows how to react. We're all looking at each other. My head's floating and bouncing like a balloon on a string. I could almost break into a dance. But I don't want to be the only one. Someone cheers, and we all cheer and start shaking hands and laughing, slapping each other on the back. Welchman throws an arm around John's shoulder. He looks at Beryl and me. "This will not be forgotten," he says. "That's all I want, to be a part of the team." Did we really do it? Did we just punch Hitler in the mouth? The colonel watches from a nearby lawn. It would be a stretch to say that he's smiling. It's pretty close, though.
Chapter 49. Lizzie. A soft tap sounds at the door. We freeze, eyes wide, staring at our operation notes scattered across the floor. Then another tap, followed by a bubbling voice. "Lizzie, open the door, love. I have some refreshment for you." "It's my mum," whispers Colin. I jump up and open the door a crack. "Good afternoon, Lizzie," smiles Mrs. Tilbury. She's holding a thickly woven basket draped with a checked cloth. She leans in. "I can only see your eye, and a pretty eye it is. Open the door so I can bring some tea in." "How kind of you. Could you set it outside the door?" "Oh, don't worry, lamb. I've seen a girl in her nightie before." I'm perfectly decent, Mrs. Tilbury, but Marion and I are working on something quite secret and important." "Secret and urgent, I see. Well, it's no secret that you and Marion returned in the middle of the night. My memory might not be strong, Lizzie, but my ears haven't failed me yet. Are you girls all right? You didn't come down for breakfast." "We're fine. Thank you, Mrs. Tilbury. We have the midday shift at the park today." "All righty, then. Have you seen Colin? I can't seem to find him." "Oh," I reply, not wanting to lie to sweet Mrs. Tilbury. "I'm sure he's around." Without warning, her eyes begin to well. "Mrs. Tilbury, whatever's the matter?" "Oh, just the war, love. Haven't had a letter from Simon. Mum worries about her ducklings, you know. All right, I'll set the basket here on the floor. Do eat something before you set off to the park today. With rations tightening, we must eat up while we can." Mrs. Tilbury leaves the basket and heads back down the squealing staircase. I close the door and turn to Colin. "You haven't heard from Simon?" He shakes his head, avoiding my gaze. "How long has it been?" "A while. He's busy. You heard the planes." He quickly stands, still averting my eyes. "I'll grab the food. I'm hungry." Nestled in the basket is a pot of warm tea, thick slices of bread, jam, and a wire dish of boiled eggs. Right, says Colin, grabbing a piece of bread. Let's get back to it. Operation Fleetwood. I think our plan feels sound. Yes, but it relies heavily on spirits. What if he's cautious? I say. Just a wee glass, I'll tell him, and then I'll refill it again and again, says Colin. No, it's not sound yet. We need more. More planning for contingencies. I look over to Marion. She's been hunched over Willa's calendar planner for nearly an hour. Is she asleep? Whispers Colin. If so, there's something... Well, I wanted... Eureka! I found it! Shouts Marion, jumping to her feet. I found it. We thought it sounded familiar. We were right. She bends, thrusting the calendar planner in our faces. Right there. Read that. Right. Read it. I take the calendar planner and try to sound out the string of encoded words. Now read it backward, Marion says. I read it again. Zygoskrzyzowski Rajewski. Rajewski! I exclaim. It sounded familiar because we saw it in her calendar diary. So if Rajewski is a name, could the two other words also be names? Lizzie, that's brilliant, says Marion. 3 names, not 3 words. Yes, perhaps the people Willa was last seen with. Lizzie, says Colin, rising from the floor, is there anyone at the park you might drop these words to? Try to confirm if they're names? I could try the Colonel, maybe even Jacob, but I'd have to be awfully crafty about it. Colin smiles. His eyes dance with laughter. If anyone's crafty, it's you, Lizzie Novus.
Chapter 50. Jacob. We quickly work out a system in the park, our own little factory of code breaking. The process starts at midnight in Germany when Enigma operators reset their machines. The Hut 6 team charts messages as they come in. We work out the day's ring settings and search for sillies. We've even learned how to narrow down which rotors the Luftwaffe network might be using that day and in what order. They have a policy we've noticed that no rotor can be in the same position in the machine for 2 days in a row. A smart idea, right? Wrong. It's unforgivably bad. Moving the rotors makes them easier to find. There are 5 different rotors, and they use 3 at a time, so there are 5 times 4 times 3 ways to arrange them, 60 total. But if you change every rotor's position every day, you can't use 28 of the 60 possible combinations. So when we figure out the rotor positions for one day, we only have to check 32 positions the next day. You see, this is why the world needs mathematicians. When we've got a good guess at the day's Enigma settings, we send everything down the hall to the decoding room. There, young women sit at a clattering Typex machine, bulky black typewriters with spinning spools of white tape. The machines are built to work like Enigmas. Operators type in an enciphered message, and if we've got the settings right, the original German is printed on papered tape. When an operator sees German on her tape, she shouts, "It's coming out!" I live for that moment. The other operators adjust their machines to the day's settings. From the decoding room, deciphered messages go to Hut 3 through a wooden tunnel. Park carpenters hammered it up to connect us to our neighbors. We fill a tray with papers and push it through Hut 3 with the end of a broom handle. Cutting-edge technology indeed. In Hut 3, one team translates the German into English. Another analyzes the intelligence in each message, what it means, level of priority, who needs to see it. From there, everything is relayed by phone or courier to high-level military leaders in London and beyond. A box of choice product is prepared each day for Winston Churchill. Then, the park's librarians take over. They're creating a catalog of decrypted messages on index cards. The idea is to be able to search for any message by any subject. Names of German generals, specific ports or airfields, types of planes or weapons. The details in previous messages give us clues to solving the new ones. It's a colossal task. We're going to need a lot more librarians. It's not my job to read individual messages, but I've got a good idea of what we're deciphering. The position of German forces, how many planes they've got on different airfields, targets they plan to hit, that sort of thing. There are lots of mentions of something called Operation Sea Lion. That confused us until this morning. I was on my way to breakfast when I saw Beryl standing by the tunnel to Hut 3, reading from a yellow slip of paper. She asked, "How's your German?" "Poor." She handed me the deciphered Enigma message saying, Ever think you'd be reading Adolf Hitler's direct orders? My schoolboy German was just good enough for a rough translation. Since Great Britain, in spite of her hopeless military situation, will not compromise, I have decided to prepare a landing operation against Britain. Operation Sea Lion, I asked. Beryl nodded. That's their code name for the invasion of Britain. Could come any time. Enjoy your breakfast. In fact, I do enjoy it. Sea Lion 1 minute, baked beans on toast the next. That's life at Bletchley Park. I step outside after the meal, deciding to stroll for a bit, wind down before trying to sleep. Turing and Welchman are just coming out from hut 1 as I walk past. I get a quick look inside at the prototype of Turing's code-breaking machine. The thing's enormous, 8 feet high and wide, with webs of wires and rows of rotating rotors. Something like the son of Frankenstein might have been invented if he'd been a brilliant code-breaker. It's getting close, I hear Welchman tell Turing. They've got their shirt sleeves rolled up, their hands and wrists streaked with grease. Welchman laughs. Maybe you didn't need to bury that silver after all. What? Did I hear that right? They walk towards Hut 2. I lurk a few steps behind, close enough to hear. I still don't get it, Welchman says. What's wrong with a bank? It's safer this way if the worst happens. If the worst happens, we'll have bigger problems than... Welchman spins around. Novus, are you spying on us? No, I quack. No, I was just walking over to, Welchman smiling. He was joking. Did you hear about Long John Turing here? Invested his life savings in silver ingots and buried them in some secret spot. If the Germans take over, you'll wish you had hidden your money too, Turing says. It's barmy, man. You'll never find it. I made a map written in cipher, which you'll have to invent a machine to crack, no doubt. They go back and forth like this, Welchman laughing, Turing not the least bit offended. They head into Hut 2, and I run to find Nigel. He's up in the pigeon loft feeding the birds. I tell him what I just learned. It's a bit strange burying silver, I say, but perfectly innocent. Yeah, Nigel's kneeling in front of one of the cages, filling a little bowl with dried corn. Interesting. It's good news, right? We don't need to do anything. Well, what? The thing is, Nigel stands. He brushes off his knees. I moved the silver. What? I had to, Jacob. I couldn't just leave it there for some enemy agent to collect. It's not for an enemy agent, I point out. How was I supposed to know that, he asks. I went back out there with my school satchel and a gardening trowel. I had to make 2 trips. They're really heavy. Where are they now? Safe, he says. Hidden. Here in the park. I have to laugh. Okay, no harm done. We'll just put them back. No one will know. So where's the silver? Nigel opens one of the bird cages. He reaches under the straw and pulls out a piece of paper. Folded into 4ths. He hands it to me. I unfold the paper and read the handwritten note. A riddle. I really do like this kid. We lie behind walls, but under no roof. Make all the right turns, and left ones too. And there we rest, beneath your shoe.
Chapter 51. Lizzie. Have you ever opened your eyes only to be jolted by the realization that you've overslept? That's what happened to me. I'm late for my shift. I throw on my clothes, race down the stairs, and bolt toward the door of the Mutton. I'll eat at the park! I yell to anyone who might be in earshot. I exit the inn, and I'm about to break into a run when I hear it. Miss Novus, a word, please? The smoking scarecrow. I'm sorry, I'm in a terrible hurry, I tell him. I'll walk with you. We fall into step, and he wastes no time. Miss Novus, we haven't been properly introduced. Do you know who I am? Yeah, you're the security man who smokes constantly and seems to enjoy chatting with my brother. Can we move a bit faster, please? Yes, I'm William James Jarvis, an inspector. British counterintelligence. MI5, Jacob had mentioned that. Why is an MI5 agent loitering around the inn? Goodness, I say, you're a spy catcher. How exciting. Yes, and as you've noted, I've been speaking with your brother. Whew! I assure you, Mr. Jarvis, Jacob is not exciting enough to be a spy. Ah, you find spies exciting? I find information exciting. I've been told I'm quite perceptive. Really? What have you noticed? He asks. You light a lot of cigarettes, but smoke just 2 puffs before putting one out and lighting another. You extinguish the cigarettes with your toe rather than your heel, and you never step inside the park, only linger outside of it. That leads me to believe that you're struggling to quit smoking. You're probably a wonderful dancer and very light on your feet, and the loitering, I do believe you could be up to no good. I've been told that I'm perceptive too. Forgive me, but if you were truly perceptive, you'd realize what a rush I'm in. I begin to jog. Miss Novus, he says, trying to keep up. My perception is that you missed your mother. I stop and turn to face him. Do you know Willa, Mr. Jarvis? Interesting choice of tense. You said no instead of knew. Your brother uses past tense when speaking of your mother. Have you heard from your mother, Miss Novus, or perhaps seen her? The hair on my neck stands at attention. Something isn't right. I have to ask myself, could it really be a coincidence that a letter arrived yesterday from Willa, or did this man send the letter only to ask me about it? What's he up to? What do you know about your mother being sent to Poland? I had a very forthright conversation with Ambassador Kennedy about it. She wasn't sent. She insisted on supervising the trip. I resume walking. I get the sense that you might be trying to ensnare me in some sort of trap, Mr. Jarvis. I much prefer being straightforward. If you have a question, please ask it directly and allow me to do the same. Is your mother alive, Miss Novus? Yes. Jarvis's reaction, his body language, it's instant. He then tries to conceal it. How are you certain? We arrive at the gates of the park. Because a daughter keeps her mother alive in her heart, I tell him. Ah, so you're speaking metaphorically, Miss Novus. I believe it's my turn to ask a question. Do you think my mother is alive, Mr. Jarvis? He pauses, exhaling a scarf of smoke. I do, and I hesitate to get between siblings, but there's a chance your brother may have seen her. He's wasting my time. She came to the mutton, and he failed to tell me about it. That's old news. Wait, says Jarvis. She was here? When was that? Oh, that was a huge misstep. He didn't know. I tried to recover. And you call yourself an agent. Please be straightforward and get to the point, Mr. Jarvis. Do you have any information that hasn't yet been considered? Something worthy of making me late for work? Jarvis has pulled a small notepad from his pocket and is jotting something down. Well, I was thinking of your mother's beautiful name. Willa Aristia Bradford Novus. I've conferred that Willa is short for Wilhelmina, which makes sense. Yes? But you are well aware, Miss Novus, that the name Wilhelmina, that's a German name. I swallow. What is he suggesting? We must investigate any potential ties to Germany. German sympathies are a dangerous commodity at the moment. You are young, my dear, but your brother is now considered an adult. If your brother has asked you to harbor secrets about your mother, you would do well to tell me. Ugh, this man is despicable. But he doesn't frighten me. He's a scarecrow, an empty suit of straw. Mr. Jarvis, you are a very poor negotiator. You're trying to draw information out of me while insulting my family to the very core. A shameful tactic. Willa working for the Germans? And good grief, implying that Jacob might be a spy? An audible squeak sounds above the gate. We look up into the tree, and perched on a branch is not a bird. It's Nigel, the young boy with binoculars. He's sitting atop the lost yellow hat. How much has he heard? There's no telling and no time to ask. I'm late for work. I leave Jarvis standing with his notepad and run past the guard at the gate.
Chapter 52, Jacob. It's high time for a clean of pair of trousers. I walk the mile out to the shoulder of mutton. Just as I'm getting there, a little blue motor car chugs past and pulls to the curb outside the inn. Mr. Berrycloth climbs out in his plaid jacket, patting down piles of windblown hair. Colin steps out of the inn. He's wearing his home guard armband, holding a thin pamphlet. Mr. Berrycloth, may I have a word? I don't know if you've seen this new publication, sir. If the invader comes. They're being posted to every home. Sounds fascinating, says Berrycloth. He tries to brush past, but Colin blocks the way to the door. This is serious business, Colin lectures. We're on our own now, and there's loads we need to do to prepare. You've got to hide any maps from now on. See that the enemy gets no petrol. The big thing is that you've got to put your car out of action when it's not in use. You've got to take out the distributor, so it can't be started by enemy troops. Stop blathering, child. I'm sorry, Sir Colin says, but if you don't do it, I will. Berrycloth's turning berry red. My boy, you will do no such thing. I'm sorry, but it's my duty as a member of the Home Guard. It's quite a simple procedure. Let me show you. I'll thank you to remove your hands from my motor car. It sounds as if the argument may last a while. I continue into the mutton. Mrs. Tilbury's wiping down tables in the pub. Two men sit at the chessboard in the corner in the middle of a game. One of the players is Jarvis. Does this man seriously have nothing better to do? It takes me a moment to place his opponent. It's been ages since I've seen him. But there's no mistaking his eyes, the jowls, the stink of his black cigar. It's Grand's dreaded henchman, Fleetwood. So he's tracked Lizzie to the mutton. The old bloodhound. Well, I knew Gran wouldn't give up. I've got to warn Lizzie. Or would it be safer for her to go to America? Better for everyone. Jarvis sees me watching. What do you think? I step closer, take a look at the board. Jarvis has a winning position. Fleetwood glances up. He doesn't seem to recognize me. He looks back to the board and makes an unforgivable pawn move. Aha! Jarvis says, leaping his knight into enemy territory, forking Fleetwood's king and queen. Check. It's pointless to continue. Fleetwood stands, grumbling, and shuffles to the bar. Jarvis resets the white pieces. He gestures to the empty seat across from him. I'm no match for you, I'm sure, he says. I sit down, set up the black pieces, and we start. He tries a Roy Lopez opening, but fouls up the move order. He's doomed already. So why is he smiling? So, he says, sliding a bishop forward, at what point were you planning to tell me about Willa's visit? He set me up for that. A sucker punch to the gut. Who told you about that? Colin? He shrugs, unimportant. Nosy kid. What matters is that your mother was here, he says, right before leaving for Poland. She came to this inn. Yes, and you chose not to tell me. What do I say? Try to explain that I'd have told him if he'd only been nicer to me? How pathetic would that sound? I pick up my knight just to do something. Do you remember what I told you, Jarvis asked? About obstructing my investigation in any way? As if I could forget that walk from my square pond. He said that I'd be guilty of treason. Jarvis fills in. He lowers his voice to a menacing whisper. Now answer me very, very carefully, Jacob. Did Willa ask you about your work in the park? She did, actually. Why would she do that? Just in a general way, I say. She asked about how things were going. What did you say? Going fine, that sort of thing. She didn't press for more. What was she like when she was here? Jarvis asks. How would you describe her mood? I have to tell him. He'll find it out from Colin if he hasn't already. A bit nervous, maybe? Why do you suppose that was? I'm not sure, I say. She was worried about her trip, I guess. Jarvis shakes his head. But she wanted to go to Poland. What do you mean? She all but insisted that Ambassador Kennedy give her the assignment, Jarvis says. You didn't know that? I didn't. I'm still holding my blasted knight. I set it down unsteadily, unable to decide on a move. Your sister knew, he says, moving in so close that his bony knees knock into mine. Tell me, Novus, why would your mother willingly go into what was about to be a war zone? She liked a challenge. She never felt her talents were being used at the embassy. I see. She felt resentful towards her boss, tempted by a challenge, wanted a more exciting life. Do you know what you're describing? What? Many of the classic motivations of spies. That's impossible. She hated Hitler. We've been over that, Jarvis says. You didn't know her. Of course I did. I slammed the table, knocking over a few of the chess pieces. Jarvis leans back, satisfied with the beating he just gave me. Mrs. Tilbury's cleaning the table next to ours. She asked me, You did get that letter, didn't you, love? Letter? Curious, I thought, she says. You never receive any mail here in all your time at the button, and then that one comes, addressed to you here. I slid it under your door. Oh, I say. Thank you, Mrs. Tilbury. Jarvis stands, arms crossed and scowling. Get up, Novus, he says. Let's go. Chapter 53, Jacob. I'm telling you, Mr. Jarvis, I didn't get any letter. The scarecrow follows me up the stairs to the second floor. We'll have to have a look if you don't mind, he says. Jarvis leans his head down to get through the doorway of my room. He rifles through the American sports pages on the table, my well-worn copies of Spicy Detective magazine. What letter could Mrs. Tilbury be talking about? Addressed to me here at the Mutton? Who even knows I live here? No. Can't be her. Can it? I shoot a glance over the books on my windowsill, neatly arranged since Lizzie moved in. There's my Polish dictionary with the very top of Willa's newspaper clipping sticking up from the pages. How can I possibly explain her "your father would be proud of you" message? I don't understand it myself. Jarvis strides to the bed. His long frame fills half the room. He lifts the thin mattress, looks underneath. Outside of the park and people in town, who knows you live here? He drops the mattress. No one. How did Willa find you here? Ever think about that? I have, of course. She said, I know people. Something like that. It sounds awful. I'll bet she does know people. Jarvis reaches towards the books on the windowsill. He pulls out the Polish dictionary. The question is, who are they? But hold on, I say, hoping he can't hear the panic in my voice. Stop for a second. He turns towards me. Isn't it still most likely my mom was killed when the Germans attacked Warsaw? That would simplify things, wouldn't it? He slides the book back into place. But no, I think she had plans we don't know about. I think she's alive. I feel a spark of hope. Hope I didn't know I had. Jarvis is a step ahead, as usual. Can you imagine the damage she could do if she told the wrong people about your work? The word damage doesn't begin to cover it. It would be catastrophic. The Germans could wait until the key moment, then change their Enigma procedures, undo all of our breakthroughs. Send us back to the drawing board just as the invasion begins. He glares at me with open disgust now. You think you're so smart, Novus, but I'm done playing games with you. I'm going to have a talk with your superiors. I'm going to strongly recommend that you be removed from the park. My work? Jarvis opens the door. You want to fight Hitler so badly? Let's see if we can get you sent to the front lines.
Chapter 54. Lizzie. My shift has ended. I think I'm finally beginning to make sense of what's happening at the park. Like the flow of information in the chain of command, and other things. Like the fact that Jacob has no idea that Beryl still looks at him. I step beyond the gates of the park, and a hand grabs me from behind. "Not that way, this way," whispers Colin. We break into a jog along the perimeter of the fence, toward the church. Fleetwood? Already? He's at the mutton. Our operation is officially underway. No, I'm not prepared. I thought we'd have a few days. Where's Marion? I sent her ahead, told her to crawl through my window and hide for a bit. I draw a deep breath. I'm sorry, Colin. I need a moment to think. We make our way into the church and sit on the floor between the pews. Colin quietly removes his hat and runs his fingers through his hair. One of the many wonderful things about Colin, he appreciates silence. He understands that some spaces are perfectly fine being empty. We sit alone together as the soft dusk light streams through the stained glass windows. I hate that Fleetwood is ahead of me. I hate that Bletchley could be behind me. I hate the idea of Cleveland and grand, slimy health drinks. But most of all, I hate that I haven't found Willa. I'll manage. If need be, I'll continue the investigation from Cleveland. I'll set up my headquarters in Grand's musty house on Millionaire's Row. I'll find a way. Jacob has his work, but this is my work, and I'm not giving up. I pull another deep breath, trying to tame my galloping heartbeat. Have you seen the papers? I finally ask. They bombed along the Thames. There were fatalities. The Germans, they're here. Yeah, the RAF are fighting them off. Any word from Simon? His eyes dim. Not yet. I nod, but why am I nodding? Where are my words? I should say something comforting. Speaking of brothers, says Colin, Jacob came to the mutton after his shift. He was with that guy who's always smoking and skulking around. Jarvis? I don't know his name. He followed your brother up the stairs. Jacob looked more than peeved. Jarvis is MI5. What? MI5 at the mutton? He bothered me all the way to the park today. Colin's eyes narrow with concern. What do you mean he bothered you? He was fishing for information. He implied that both Jacob and Willa could be spies for the Germans. Colin fiddles with his shoelace. Well, I'll be straightforward, Lizzie. Working as a code clerk at the embassy and all, I've wondered if your mom might have been recruited into something, but Jacob? A spy? What a bunch of twaddle, he laughs. It's not funny, Colin. Accusing my mother and brother of betraying England is offensive and preposterous. Willa and Jacob despise Hitler. I know, but you have to admit there are a bunch of unknowns. We were getting so close. We have Willa's note. We just need more time, I say. We don't have time. Fleetwood's here and MI5 at the mutton. Colin whistles below his breath. Something's going on, something big, Lizzie. And that Secrets Act you mentioned. The way he mentions the Secrets Act, as if he hopes I'll explain but knows that I can't, I look at him. Colin's always so honest. I wish I could tell him about everything I'd seen inside the park. Countless huts with different departments. The odd clicking machines, the chalkboards littered with equations, the small slips of paper, ladies crying in the loo, men buckling from exhaustion, and couples kissing behind trees. Marion and Jacob must see it all too, but the Secrets Act prohibits us from talking about it. Colin, I begin, choosing my words carefully. Please know that if I don't want to keep anything from you, ever. It's never been my plan to go to Cleveland. He looks down and plucks at his cap. I know, Lizzie. I can see how painful it is when you can't be straightforward. Exactly. Thank you for understanding. I was so intent in decoding Willa's mission that I underestimated Fleetwood's ability to move quickly, and now he's here and... My voice cracks with emotion. Fleetwood, Gran, the war, it's all so much. I don't want to go to Cleveland. I really don't. Would you write to me? Colin slowly raises his eyes to mine. I'd rather not talk about that possibility. I'm not good at goodbyes, Lizzie.